the willingness to do what you believe is right, even at your own peril. Doing what you believe is right, even at your own peril. That's courage. And that's what's expected of you as a leader. And it's the courage to stand up and say, this decision that we're making as an organization, here's what I think is wrong about it, or here's what I think is right about it. And being honest and straightforward about that and not shying away from it. As far as bringing anger into the workplace, there are absolutely times when it is totally appropriate to be angry at work.
Mm-hmm.
When clear-cut commitments have been agreed to and missed, that's a time to demonstrate disappointment, even anger. When clear norms, rules, or laws have been broken, that's an absolutely appropriate time to demonstrate severe disappointment and even anger.
Yep.
So, you know, I think of even Jesus Christ fashioned a whip and drove the money changers out of the temple. You know, our version of the greatest pacifist of all time knew that there were moments when it's appropriate to employ anger.
Yeah, and I'll just say I completely agree. And the more consistent you are and the clearer you are, the more impactful that disappointment and that anger is going to be. If you have an expectation that's been clearly articulated, and if things come back notably off what you expected and what you articulated, you need to let it be known it's not acceptable. There's a way to articulate it. There's a way to share your disappointment, your anger, but clearly you have to let it be known. So otherwise, it will continue to repeat itself. And in these roles, to go back to that question around paralysis and timing and how much capacity do we have to kind of seek to learn. If people know that the wrong answer is the wrong answer, it's not acceptable, they'll be much more efficient in their responses going forward.
Yeah, one of the greatest leadership adages I ever learned, and I still hold fast to it today, is this, and it's reported to have been said by Sam Walton. It goes like this: as a leader, you don't get what you expect from your people. You don't get what you expect, you get what you accept. And as a leader, you got to be really clear on what's acceptable. I'm not saying be a jerk. I'm just saying be very clear. This is not what we agreed. If work is delivered that was not what was agreed, don't shy away from saying, this is not what we agreed.
Yeah.
That's just holding people accountable. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. One other interesting thing, this is more to where the situation is, what the situation is right now. Melissa Herman has a question about, we're feeling pressure from employees to make a decision about how we're going to work together as a company coming out of COVID. And we're being pressured to make that decision before we can really know. How can we manage employees' expectations? How can we slow them down a little bit in terms of what to expect around an answer? Because sometimes we need to, yes, there's bias for action, which is part of the game day mentality that you mentioned, Mitch, but there's also sometimes when it's not really time yet to make a decision about how we're going to come out of this. So maybe Mitch, since you're doing it right now.
I'll quickly, we're in what I'd say is it's time. There are times not to make a fast decision. This is obviously one of those, and this is one of those decisions. The way that you keep the employees at bay is clear and concise and honest communication. We don't have an answer yet. We are taking our time because of the stakes are relatively high, and they aren't high for the company, that they're high for you as an employee. So we're doing a lot of due diligence and investments to make sure that we are readying the on-ramp back into a more normalized working environment. As soon as we have visibility and we have the right plan and we have the right protection measures, we will begin to work our way back to a more normalized working environment. But this is not company driven. So sometimes it's community driven. It is city driven. It is federally. I mean, there are a lot of different constituents that are influencing these decisions, and it will be slow rolled. So communicate, be honest about it, and follow up. I think those are the key areas. And in this environment, I think transparency, honesty, and admitting we don't have the answers, but we are working really hard to get there is a premium.